White Day, a labyrinth named School. A 2001 Korean survival horror game that's not really that much heard of nowadays. It did get a remake in 2015 for the PS4 and PC, and that's the version I actually ended up buying a while ago in a bundle, but I figured I might as well give the old one a try. After all, if you look this game up online, you'll see a lot of people arguing over which game's better. A lot of people say the original game from 2001 is actually scarier, and that some people were too afraid of the ghosts, they actually nerfed some of the fear factor in the newer game. I'm not so sure about that, so let's just take a quick spoiler-free look at the beginning of both games. I've only played about an hour into White Day, so I don't know how this changes over time, but this will just be my initial thoughts on the just beginning of both of them, just to compare just the introduction. So again, no spoilers, now let's jump into a little bit of live commentary. Alright, here we are in game. This is the first day. As you can see, the models look a little very 2001, but still not bad for 2001, I think, especially for, I think this is like an independent game. Got some really good atmospheric sound going in here. It's interaction controlled with the mouse. You can walk around with the mouse too if you want, like right click to move and then both clicks to go back. It's weird. I use WASD. Let's see. Okay, nothing we can click on here. The game's interaction system's a bit weird. You have to click on something once to examine it, like this. And then you click it a second time to actually read it. So I guess if there's something dangerous later on, that could be a interesting way to not get yourself hurt. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a coin. And now we have to click it again. 501 coins. So already, I haven't played the remake yet. I've only just seen pictures of it. And already, my first impressions were pretty positive. Generally, I get lost a lot in horror games or have to use guides, and this game seemed like it was going to be the same way. I know, I got a little note that mentioned something I can't do yet, something about vents, so I just figured, you know, I'll do what you do normally in games, and I'll explore. So I went around, looked at everything, then I came into these bathrooms, and that's when I saw this little notepad. Yes, this game, you can save with the notepads, but you also need a resource. You use these little pens, you collect these, and each time you get it, you can save once. That may seem a little bit harsh, but again, that's just how some older survival horror games work, and this was 2001. So you can save, but you still have to first find the save point, and you have to have the resource. I also found that there's some items that are kind of hard to grab. You have to be pretty much right on them. So if they're a little too high or a little too low, it can be a little bit of a problem. But also, like I was saying before about exploration, exploration told you how to save, and exploration also, I come back in this room where we were before, and the door is just unlocked and open. So again, a pretty nice atmospheric change. You know, that door wasn't open before, why is it open now? And you go in the only new door, and that leads you to the first cutscene.
야! 소리 없이 나타나면 놀라잖아. 쟤, 얼마 전에 우리 반으로 전학 오네. 그럼 이따가 봐. 그래, 나중에 봐. 난 8반 김성아야. 너는? 그런데 이 시간에 학교에 있는... 뭐야? 너도 소영이 쫓아다니는 애구나? 하여간 남자애들은 너 전학 온 지 얼마 안 돼서 잘 모르지? 소영이 말이야.
No, I didn't cut it. The cutscene ends that abruptly. And it's actually pretty interesting if you ask me. It's like, it feels very weird, and then you get this weird imagery of what that back room is and what's going on there. You have this alarm blaring in your ears, which admittedly is a bit too loud, but I think it's a pretty good setup. You get another pen for saving and a note with the hints on what's to come, and you start out solving this puzzle. And this is when you start to see some of the other issues, like, you know, collision effects and trying to activate certain switches and stuff can be a little bit weird, but overall, I think it still works. So once you solve the first puzzle, that's when you actually get to look at this environment and wow, okay. I don't think this is what the inside of a school is supposed to look like, but pretty interesting. And then we get to actually solve our first, like, normal switch-based puzzle. I'm not going to spoil that for you guys here. But then everything seems to go back to normal. So, okay, alright. It's one of those, like, you know, Silent Hill style games. I guess things get a little bit weird sometimes. And the picky interactions get even more annoying when you're trying to use keys and doors. Oh, first you have to equip the key, then you have to find the exact keyhole, and yeah, it's not ideal. And now that we're done with this prologue phase, we get to explore a little bit more of the school. So I don't know if you've noticed, this game, the lighting is actually pretty good for a 2001 game. I'm sure it's like static lighting, but it looks nice and eerie without being like too dark to see. And this is our introduction to the roaming thread of this game, the janitor. He can look a little less intimidating in the light, but he will chase you around and he will kill you with that baseball bat, so it's best to try to avoid him and hide if possible. And now that we've made it to the second floor, things start to get a little bit more intense. You'll get a box of matches because this floor is actually pretty dark, especially compared to the first floor. The darkness will greatly cut your vision, and this is where they start introducing ghosts. If you hear a weird sound like this, that might mean there's a ghost nearby. You can't see them, but they can see and hurt you. I'm not sure what triggers these ghosts to attack you, but the creepy noise they make really does add to the overall atmosphere. This game's sound design is just pretty incredible in general. The game can also get pretty tense pretty fast. Like, there's this section where you're stuck completely in darkness, then you hear the faint jingle of some keys, and you know what's coming next. So, you go to the next doorway, and you're like, easy, I can escape. Something weird's going on with the lighting, but, you know, no big deal. Let's just close these doors behind me, and I should be fine. Go through, you still hear the jingling, but you're almost there, and guess what? The door's locked. Okay, no problem, let's turn back. I mean, after all, the janitor is back in that room. Wait, he's here? Uh-oh. Now, admittedly, I think the janitor is a little too aggressive in this game, as in, if he sees you go into a room, he pretty much will absolutely know exactly where you are, even on normal mode, but it still makes for an interesting opponent. Alright, now let's take a quick look at the remake, mainly just for comparison, so this should be shorter than the first section. I guess my wish list for this is, you know, obviously better visuals, maybe improve some of those collision issues and stuff, basically just iron out the stuff that we fixed over the last 15 years, and I think it will be a really solid game. I still think the original still holds up, it just has some kind of annoyances. And right off the bat, it just looks significantly better. I mean, look at these cutscenes, they're significantly improved. Alright, and we're going to be playing on hard mode, because from what I understand, that's probably the closest to the original game's normal, and let's just see how it goes. Loading into the first level, wow, this actually looks quite a bit better than the original game. We can actually read what's on the walls, they are actually posters now, and notes are organized a little bit better. It looks like you save from the bulletin board. Okay, I mean, that's an interesting change. I guess they're easier to see than as little notepads. There's a few more things to interact with, a few more things to pick up. Alright. Oh, hey, look, we can actually reach stuff up high now. That's pretty nice. Picking up items is much easier, and we're out of the bathroom, but the door hasn't unlocked. Yeah, they actually reworked a lot of the puzzles in this game, especially the early on ones, so okay, I guess that little prompt we got, they go to the classroom, means that's the unlock factor, and sure enough, now we can go down the hallway, and let's go see the first cutscene.
How do we get in?
Yeah, I wonder how we can do it. Oh my, you totally startled me just then. Oh, I've seen him. He's a new transfer student.
Really?
Anyway, I'm leaving. See ya.
So as you can see, the cutscenes changed quite a bit. And I don't necessarily think changing cutscenes is a bad thing. I do like that they gave Sunga more of a personality this time around. but it does kind of remove some really good elements from the original. For example, the cutting off of the line right before you're about to learn something. Sure, it's a little bit old, but I thought it was really well done. And then the second part, you know, the flashing forwards of what's about to happen with the alarms going off, I felt like that was pretty interesting, and it made it feel a little bit more weird and unworldly, like, why are you seeing these images? Are they coming from her, or the you, or what? But now it's just essentially some girls asking you to help her out. And that also takes away a little bit from the isolation factor. Originally, they both kind of leave, and it's all up to you. And now, it's still up to you, but arguably you're doing it for someone else. So by removing the alarm and the weird imagery, I kind of feel like there's no real sense of urgency here. There is a mysterious phone ringing gag, but I mean, the phone is not interactive, and I just don't think that a phone ringing when it's not supposed to is really more mysterious than, you know, an alarm going off or flashing imagery or any of the other things. But anyway, once you get finished with this puzzle, you'll be back in the mysterious room from the first game. And I'll admit, I do think the glowing circle is a kind of nice touch, but I feel like the, you know, environment, the walls and stuff just don't look as alien as they did in the original. And again, that could just be like, you know, you can't get away with weird textures as much, but I still feel like Kerr made this feel a little bit more otherworldly. Like, if I saw this in real life, I would just think this was a prank someone was pulling. But anyway, the puzzle's a bit more straightforward this time. It's more of like a spinning thing puzzle. And then once you finish that, you're pretty much got the same thing. You get your key and you get your item that we'll need to progress the game. But first, we gotta run into our old pal, the janitor. And arguably, I think he kind of is less intimidating looking in this game. Like, maybe it's just the lighting, or maybe it's the fact he looks like a normal person, but I don't know, he just looks a little less scary to me. But he's received some other changes as well. As you remember, he was a little too aggressive in the first game. Like I said, he just wouldn't lock off to you no matter what. Well, in this game, alright, here's the very next scene. I just had a scripted janitor encounter a few seconds ago, so I should be fine. But the music's starting to change, so I guess that means he's still nearby. Alright, let me grab the... Oh, it's a lighter now. Okay, interesting. And I guess I should probably... Wait. That shouldn't... What? How? I just... what? You can't... No, you can't be here. You gotta leave, sir. Oh, okay. I just came out of a cutscene that put me here. I didn't walk into this room manually. I didn't walk out. I've been here just sitting in this room, not even sprinting, and he knows where I am? The key jingle's meant as an early warning sign. It doesn't even mean you're in his detection range yet. So if I just heard it, there's no way he should have immediately come busting down the door. Well, I guess it doesn't matter anyway, since apparently this game autosaves, even on hard mode. Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of a resource-based save system? Oh well. Anyway, the last thing I guess we should really mention is the sound design. Just take a look at the same exact hallway in both games. Here's the original. And here's what it sounds like in a remake. It's just way less atmospheric. A few times they'll try to make hallways sound kind of creepy in a remake, and they'll play this music, which I think is just a little too cinematic, I guess. Like, it would definitely be more fitting for a cutscene. It just kind of feels weird for it to be in the background. I feel like, especially in horror games, you want to have ambient stuff in the background. Something kind of blends in but keeps you in the mood. But this feels more like it's supposed to be like drawing your attention to something specific. Like, again, if a cutscene when a boss shows up or something like that, I feel like this would be really good for like drawing up tension, but not for sustaining it. Also, I'm not sure how prevalent this is, but it appears this remake has also added some unnecessary padding. Normally you just walk through this door right here in the original game, you know, you got to the second floor, time to go, continue on. But in the remake, there's an extra puzzle, and by puzzle I mean fetch quest to unlock the puzzle. And by that I mean you have to kind of run all the way around the map just to go through this doorway that used to be just unlockable before. So first step is to find this toolbox. So you go all the way downstairs, all the way to the other side of the map. You find a toolbox, but wait, you can't just find a code on it. You have to get the tools out, then to find the code, and then you can go all the way back to this other office and you enter the code, and then entering that code will give you a key, and now you'll be able to open the door on the second floor. It just feels so unnecessary. Like, if you want to add bonus stuff, fine, but arguably this kind of messes with the game's pacing. I guess one last minor thing to mention is some effects seem to be changed. Like, for example, when I was going through that hallway before, you know, it was like flashing lights on and off with you. It was kind of cool little effect. It didn't really make much sense, but it was pretty nice and creepy. But in the new game, they're just all kind of on. Again, that wasn't, you know, a monumental part of the original game, but it's like, why remove it? It can't really be that hard to program on lights that follow you. There's one other extremely egregious example, but it is kind of not really a spoiler. It's, you know, a really cool, like, you know, creepy moment from the original game. But if you want to skip it and experience it for yourself for the first time, go ahead and skip to the timestamp on screen. Otherwise, I'm going to show it. So here it is. So remember that creepy hallway with the crying? Let's go ahead and see what's at the end of there. Yeah, so pretty cool. Especially when you get the janitor to spawn right behind you, you're in complete darkness, you kind of feel isolated, you're not sure what to do, and that's when you go in that other hallway and end up getting trapped between you and the janitor. Now let's go ahead and see how the remake changed this.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so the fact that it's not dark is kind of a problem, but I'd argue the bigger issue is the fact that you actually see the ghost disappear. Originally, you're not sure. You're like, wait, is it still here? Can he get me? Am I in danger? There's way more uncertainty because it just stops. You get it. You're expecting one more lightning flash to show him right in your face. That's the, you know, the trope. But since he doesn't show up, you're like, is he still here? You're not even sure if you can play the game yet. But without that darkness, you just see the ghost disappear. It's just like a whole, oh, that was kind of cool. And then arguably the build-up was less cool too, so I kind of feel like that ruined the scene. Maybe that was one of the toning down the scares thing I keep hearing people talk about. But yeah, a lot of these weird edits and rewrites seem to kind of negatively affect the game in my opinion. And then this new janitor, it's great that you can finally run away from him even on hard mode, but the problem is he'll just keep following you until he gets to your hiding spot and realizes you're not there, which doesn't make sense. It's like, where's the consistency? The original janitor was super tough, but he was at least consistent. Like, you have to be hidden for a while before he got there. That's it. But with the new janitor, he'll track you through walls, he'll lock onto you and not let go, but he'll just go through it slowly. So he's less of a threat and more of an annoyance now. It's like, oh, I've been caught by the janitor. Instead of, oh shoot, I gotta hide really quick, it's more like, alright, I guess I'll just run really far away and then hide.
Again? Dude.
And then you have to wait for him to appear, and then wait for him to disengage, and then you can play again. So he's not scary, he just kind of wastes your time. So yeah, arguably, the janitor's less scary, the areas are less atmospheric, and the cool, creepy effects are kind of gone. Yeah, I can kind of understand why people say this game is just, like, a little less scary, because all the stuff that you know would make you scared in the game, or fearful, or like on edge, has just kind of been removed. Okay, not all of it, I guess, but enough of it's been removed that it's noticeable.
Why did you come in
and
here?
that takes away from the overall experience. So I don't think if you can only play White Day on PS4, you don't have a PC at all, I still think you'll have a good time, but it's just really sad to see how much was lost. I mean, to be fair, the original game still does have a lot of problems, and it was nice to see a lot of them ironed out in this entry, but I feel like they went way too far with modernizing this entry and making it appeal to a new demographic that they kind of lost a lot of what was special about the original. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Why? Worried I want something weird?